Just north of Albuquerque in Rio Rancho on Highway 528 sits a very unassuming building whose exterior may look like a warehouse, but inside is a treasure trove of antique and classic cars. This is the J&R Auto Museum. As I have learned, this is one of those places when you ask locals about it, people who have lived in Albuquerque their whole lives, they have no idea what you're talking about. Yet this museum sees a regular stream of visitors from all reaches of the globe because of its esteemed collection among car enthusiasts. If you haven't already surmised, this is one of the area's best kept secrets. Gab and Ivana Joyner are the proprietors of the museum, and the collection goes back to when Gab bought his first antique car, a 1926 Model T Ford Coupe, back in 1959. Today, the cars in the museum range from a 1912 Buick to a 1969 Mercury Cougar. More than 5 decades of automobile history all in one building out here in Rio Rancho. Now, I have to admit, my knowledge when it comes to old cars is less than limited, but even I can see how impressive this collection is. This guy is more like a minivan from the 1920s, but it's really sleek and elegant still. From names like Ford and Buick, whose cars are still produced today, to vintage classics like Marmons, Packards, and Studebakers, they have a stunning variety of vehicles in here. While walking through the museum, you can't help but notice the full row of automobiles that have ribbons and awards from the Great Race. Clearly these cars have some stories to tell. I decide I need to speak with Ivana Joyner to hear what this is all about.
A friend and her and I decided to do it in '87 when our husbands couldn't decide if they wanted to do it or not. So we said, well, let's us do it. So her and I did it in '88 in the little yellow car over here, little Model A, and went from Disneyland to Boston that year.
So across the country.
So,
you must have been setting some records, a female duo driving across the country.
We were the first all-female team to ever do the race and finish it. There had been another one that started, but they didn't finish. So we were the first all-female team to ever
Look at
finish.
you, setting the standard. That's great.
And then after that, there was so many ladies that said, we want to do that.
You guys are setting records, and who would have thought in the middle of Rio Rancho, here's all the the proof of all the work that you guys have done. I'm blown away by because a lot of these cars you only see in miniatures or in books.
We have some very unusual cars in here, and that's what my husband likes, is something different,
right?
Instead of something that everybody's got.
And they don't make them like that anymore, right?
No, that's true. And his favorites are anywhere, 20s, 30s, and 40s.
I can imagine driving one of these cars across country. It would take the notion of road trip to a whole other level. Behind the wheel of one of these automobiles, it would feel like you are really touring the country and taking in the sights in style. As it turns out, over half of the cars in the museum are for sale. Guess I better start saving my pennies. The museum is located right off Highway 528 in Rio Rancho. Don't rely on a GPS system as it will not give proper directions, but it's easy to find. Their address is 3650A Highway 528, just north of the McDonald's at Montoya Road. The museum also has an incredible gift shop for car enthusiasts and collectors. Books and die-cast toys you won't be able to find anywhere else in town. If you're inspired by what you see, check to see what refurbished cars or project vehicles they have for sale.